All right, it's 7 o'clock. We're going to call this meeting to order. I appreciate y'all being here this evening. We got quite a crowd tonight. We got some special recognitions, and I'm sure y'all are here for that and not the regular business of the council. So once you've been recognized, you can stay for the rest of the meeting, but I wouldn't if I were you, unless you're just having trouble sleeping. So I'm glad that y'all are here. First off tonight, we have Pastor Memo Garcia with Life Church Assembly of God at 4100 King Springs Road. I'd like to invite you up to lead us in the invocation and the pledge, and everybody please rise.
Thank you so much. Let us pray. God, we thank you for this day. Thank you for this beautiful city. God, I pray that you will allow us, God, to be in this place today and listen to what Mayor Derek has to say, God. We just thank you for it. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to a republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor, for being with us tonight. Thank you. Let's see, where did I put my glasses so I can see what I'm doing? So we don't have any agenda changes tonight. So we've got a couple of recognitions to begin with under the mayoral report. And the first one is recognition of the Smyrna Elite Track Club. And we have so many good youth athletics here in our city. And we talk a lot about football, and we talk a lot about baseball and soccer and all the things. But track is one of the most successful youth sports in our city. And so tonight we're going to recognize some of their accomplishments. We're going to hear from the coach, and then I've got a special recognition for one of the track team members. I want to go over just a minute some of the athletes that are qualified and competed in either the USA Track and Field National Championship at Texas A&M or the AAU National Championship at North Carolina A&T University this past summer. How many do we have from the Smyrna Elite Track team here tonight? We got several of y'all. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna go down this list because this is worthy of individual recognition. So this is at the Junior Olympics. Nia Milner, 15-16 group, 100-meter hurdles and 400-meter hurdlers, 7th place. Lexi Robinson, 11-12 group, 100-meter 5th place. Long jump, 1st place, national champion at 17 feet. 4x400 relay, 2nd place. We have 11-12 4x400 relay, 2nd place, Tiana Atwater, Ariana Atwater, Mabry Jeter, Layla Harriet, and Lexi Robinson. Layla Harriet in the 11-12 group, also in the 400 meter. Snow Posley, 11-12 group, in the long jump. Nico Gray in the 9-10 group, 100 meter and shot put. Mabry Jeter, 11-12 group, 100 meter and 200 meter. And Josiah Sutton, 7-8 group, 800 meter. And at the AAU Junior Olympics, we have William Smallwood, AAU Juniors 1500 and 3000. We have Roger Baker Jr. with the JOs 3000, Kayla Alexander, the 800, and Josiah Sutton, the 800. Let's give all of them a huge round of applause for their accomplishments and representing our city so well. And I see Miss Smallwood that's on my son's baseball team sitting out there in the audience, and I want her to wave to everybody too. There she is. Okay, good. She's been hitting the ball really hard in the rookie league this year. So a special recognition I want to give an honorary Mayor's Education Award. Every year we do the Mayor's Education Awards where we roll out the red carpet for our outstanding students and our community. And I believe that this particular student wasn't able to be there, probably out competing and winning national championships. But I want to read her bio and then invite her up to be awarded this special recognition. Lexi Robinson, the daughter of Lex and Bridget Robinson, embarked on her track and field journey with Smyrna Elite Track Club at the age of 8. Over the years, she has participated in various running events, including the 200-meter dash and the 400-meter dash. Currently, her focus lies on competitive events such as the 100 and 200-meter dash, the 4x400-meter relay, and the running long jump as a field event. During the summer, Lexi showcased her skills at the USATF National Junior Olympic Championship held at Texas A&M University in College Station, Texas. She achieved great success in the 2024 season by emerging as a national champion in the running long jump, securing the top spot with an impressive jump of 17 feet. Additionally, Lexi achieved 5th place in the 100-meter relay, setting a personal best time of 12.5. She and her teammates excelled in the 4x400-meter relay, Lexi with a 58-second split, finishing in 2nd place. Currently, Lexi holds the prestigious national ranking of number 1 in the long jump with a personal best of 17.22 feet. Lexi is also nationally ranked as number 11 in the 100-meter dash in her age group. Presently, Lexi is a 7th grade student at Whitfield Academy. Looking ahead, she aspires to compete at the collegiate level upon graduating high school, with her ultimate goal being to represent the United States in the Worldwide Olympics. So I have with me a Mayor's Award for Education, honorary recipient in recognition of outstanding achievement in citizenship, academics, and athletics. Lexi, your dedication and excellence to serves as an inspiration for all. And I'd like to invite you up now, Lexi, to give you this award and get some pictures. And Coach AJ, why don't you come up as well?
Get you to stand in front of the podium and we'll get the seal in the background.
All right, let's do that. We just do whatever Miss Heather tells us, and then we'll be okay. All right.
Okay, we're going to take 2 pictures here. First one, 1, 2, 3. And one more, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Coach, she makes us look better, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does.
I'll have Coach AJ up here to recognize, and some of the other coaches to recognize members of the team and talk a little bit about the program.
Sounds good.
All right, so thank you guys for having us, Mayor Norton, council members. It's exciting to be here to talk about Smyrna Elite and some of the great things that we've been doing. I personally have been coaching Smyrna Elite, or coaching track and field with City of Smyrna since 2012, I think. This Coach Todd, my partner, we both, embarked on this coaching journey at the same time, started Smyrna Elite back then. And one of the visions that we had was to create a program that was well-rounded, not just going to the Junior Olympics and, specific events, but we wanted to represent across track and field. So that meant, showing up in the sprint events, showing up in the field events, showing up in the distance events, and continuing to build our great athletes that are in this city. And that's been going well. I think over the years we've had dozens of Junior Olympic medalists, multiple national champions. We've taken relay teams to nationals and came back national champions. So we continue to go to the highest levels, and we continue to bring athletes to these events and come back with medals and represent the city of Smyrna very well. So we're proud to do that. And then one of the most amazing things and Todd probably can agree with this, is being in one of those stadiums and you hear them announce an athlete's name and they're saying Smyrna, at the same time. And sometimes they don't get the pronunciation right. We all know that's a problem, but it's always good when they try, and that's gone well. One of the things that I think, we continue to, look forward to in our struggles is, as hard as these kids work, one of the areas we need some help in is just securing like a facility that we can consistently use, for practice.
I might have heard that a time or two from Councilmember Oglesby.
I hope so. The work that these kids put in, we've, done a lot of the hard work, and we've gone to parks, we've used fields, at times feels with holes or risking injury, going into some of these events because we don't have adequate facility, throughout the full season. And we're hoping, at some point that we can get there and we can have that, so we can represent City of Smyrna even stronger and even bring in more athletes. I think that's also another limitation that's caused kind of restricting the size of the program because of the space that we have and where we have to go for practices. So the goal ultimately is, to see us have a facility that we can call our home, that we know we always have available to us. And we can get more athletes through our program and continue to build it up. One of the things this year, which I'll let Todd speak now, we started a cross-country program that we are really looking to grow. And that's going to hopefully bring athletes from other sports that may not necessarily be interested in running on the track, but may want to, run more on the outdoor courses. So, we're hoping that grows as well, and we can continue to build our program through that. I'll let Coach Todd speak a little bit.
Thank you, and thank you very much for having us tonight. For me, it's not just about the winning. It's about, if you look at statistics with these young athletes, how they are very good in school, the discipline that they learn, they stay out of trouble. We've also helped kids that have gotten out of trouble, help them get out of trouble. So it's a wonderful sport. It's so healthy, the things they learn, nutrition, the discipline. I'm just amazed. I mean, this is wonderful with all these medals. And believe me, I love when my distance kids get some medals too. But and what Lexi has done is just unbelievable. But I just think as a whole, for the whole community, how much running, how it can help. And it's not just, and it's even the other sports. You said your son plays baseball. I mean, even baseball. I mean, we help kids that, play baseball, help them get faster. And it's just, it's a great sport. And we just hope that Ricky will keep reminding you of how much we need a track.
Well, we got a big SPLOST coming up in
Yeah.
2028, and that's the opportunity for Parks and Rec improvements. And
Well-
this is something we'll definitely.
Well, thank you all. We really appreciate your support and honoring these athletes.
Let's have all the athletes stand up and be recognized one more time. Thank you all for being here and for your hard work and representing Smyrna so well. We appreciate y'all a lot. What's that? You want to come on? Everybody come on up and get a picture? Let's do it. Right in the middle, guys, right behind you. Is that all right? Man, how do you walk around with all that? Seriously.
Hey, can I stand behind you?
Y'all slide in.
Come on over here, y'all.
We gotta have the kiddies out here with us.
Snow, why are you so tall?
All right.
Thank you.
Awesome, y'all. Thanks, Coach.
Really appreciate it.
We'll give them just a second here. Man, we had a full room. So next, under the mayoral report, is another recognition, and this is a Smyrna Arts Council artist recognition for the arts exhibits honoring Hispanic Heritage Month at City Hall and the Community Center. And tonight, we're going to honor artist Saul Quinares, who I don't know if anybody's had a chance to go see his artwork, but when you leave here, take a right and go down the hallway, and there's in the HR room there and then the hallway are some beautiful artwork. And I'd like to invite the Smyrna Arts Council up now. Vanya, you want to come up and talk a little bit about what y'all are doing? I'd like Saul to come up as well. Super talented. We've got a lot of good things happening in the arts community in Smyrna. We've had a couple false starts with some of our public art. I own that, but we've got that on track now with a firm that's helping us, and so I'm super excited about, under Ricky's leadership and under your leadership, what's about to come to Smyrna as far as public art. So,
thank you. Thank you all so much for having us here. Our primary purpose is to advocate for and support art and local artists right here in Smyrna, and we're thrilled to do that throughout the year. We host improv, theatrical experiences, jazz concerts, public art. But one of our favorite events that we do is in partnership with you all and being able to have this building and the community center as a way to host and curate galleries year-round. So we thank you for that. And we're thrilled to also be a part of the initiatives you have that are coming up throughout this next year. We're really excited to work with you. So thank you again for supporting the arts and the artists here in Smyrna.
thank you for sharing your talents with us. Did you want to say anything? He's like, no, I didn't, but now I have to. I don't know.
First of all, I really appreciated the opportunity to show my work here in this place. It's an honor to me, and I hopefully not the last time. So I hope we can continue, support everybody.
For sure.
Sorry, my English is not really good.
That's
but
all
I'm
right.
trying.
I got it. We really appreciate
Thank you so much.
and sharing your art with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
So those were the two recognitions under mayoral report. It's been a minute since we met with different holiday schedules and travel schedules. We had a great Taste of Smyrna on September 7th. I hope a lot of you came out for that, one of the better ones we've ever had. We had the 125th anniversary of the fire department, which was celebrated on Saturday. We had Hispanic Heritage Celebration this weekend. Upcoming, we have September 28th, this Saturday, the College Football Saturday with the big screens downtown. And we have our birthday celebration, October 12th, which will be an all-day Culture and Spirit Festival, capped off with a stage on Atlanta Road that night for the War and Treaty and the Roots, which should be an awesome concert. We got new lights at the cages at Brinkley Park, finally, long awaited, and that's an awesome new addition to our baseball program. And just generally, our Parks and Rec staff and the programming that they're doing is just excellent for this community, for everybody, all ages, all races, all demographics. They really do an excellent job, and they kind of are behind the scenes doing it. And so if you get a chance and see anybody at some of these events with a Smyrna shirt on or Smyrna Parks and Rec shirt on, make sure to say thank you to them because they do a really, really good job. Have one other thing. I want to just say congratulations to our Deputy Clerk, Jill Head. She just received her City Clerk certification at this last little while. She didn't want to be recognized, but Heather made me do it. So congratulations to you, Jill, for that. We've got a couple of proclamations tonight, and then on the agenda is really a lot of purchase agreement stuff. But we also have one very important item is the rezoning of the Atlanta Road property for the First Baptist Church to go there. So first we'll do these proclamations. The first is in recognition of Hispanic Heritage Month, and Ms. Wilkinson is going to read it in English, and I don't see Andre here, so I'm going to have Enoch read that in Spanish for us. Ms. Wilkinson.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I'd like to read a proclamation by the Mayor of the City of Smyrna in recognition of Hispanic Heritage Month. Whereas during National Hispanic Heritage Month, we recognize the contributions made by Hispanic and Latino Americans in the United States and celebrate their culture and heritage. And whereas with over 60 million Hispanic Americans residing in the United States, Hispanic Americans make up the largest minority group in the nation and have significantly contributed to our government, culture, and economy over the generations. And whereas the Hispanic community in America has made many important advances in areas of law, religion, agriculture, art, music, education, technology, architecture, cuisine, theater, and exploration. And whereas nationally, September 15th through October 15th is National Hispanic Heritage Month, and the focal point for recognizing and celebrating the many achievements of Latino Americans and applauding their proud legacy of service and dedication. And whereas Smyrna's Hispanic American community will celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month through a series of special events featuring Hispanic history, food, dance, and culture, celebrating the rich tradition and many contributions this community has made to the city of Smyrna. And whereas we should appreciate and honor the countless achievements of Hispanic Americans and continue our efforts to ensure our city is a welcoming and inclusive place that provides just and equal opportunities for all. Now, therefore, I, Derek Norton, Mayor of the City of Smyrna, Georgia, do hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th, 2024 as Hispanic Heritage Month. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Smyrna to be affixed upon this 23rd day of September in the year of our Lord, 2024. Derek Norton, Mayor Derek Norton.
Thank you, Ms. Wilkinson. And I'd like to invite Enoch Serna, who's our web administrator here in the city, to read the proclamation in Spanish.
Proclamación de la ciudad de Smyrna del Mayor. En reconocimiento al mes de la herencia hispana, considerado que durante el mes nacional de la herencia hispana reconocemos las contribuciones hechas por hispanos y latinoamericanos en los Estados Unidos, celebramos su cultura y herencia, y con más de 60 millones de hispanoamericanos que residen en los Estados Unidos, los hispanoamericanos constituyen el grupo minoritario más grande de la nación y han contribuido significativamente a nuestro gobierno, cultura y economía a lo largo de las generaciones, y la comunidad hispana en los Estados Unidos ha hecho muchos avances importantes en las áreas de derecho, religión, agricultura, arte, música, educación, tecnología, arquitectura, gastronomía, teatro y exploración. Y considerando que a nivel nacional del 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre es el mes nacional de la herencia hispana y el punto focal para reconocer y celebrar los muchos logros de los latinoamericanos y aplaudir su admirable legado de servicio y dedicación, y la comunidad hispanoamericana de Smyrna celebrará el mes de la herencia hispana a través de una serie de eventos especiales que presentarán la historia, comida, danza y arte hispanos, celebrando la rica tradición y muchas contribuciones que esta comunidad ha hecho a la ciudad de Smyrna, y debemos apreciar y honrar los innumerables logros de los hispanoamericanos y continuar nuestros esfuerzos para garantizar que nuestra ciudad sea un lugar acogedor e inclusivo que brinde oportunidades justas e iguales para todos. Ahora yo, Derek Norton, alcalde de la ciudad del Smyrna, Georgia, proclamo por presente del 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre del 2024 como el mes de la herencia hispana.
Thank you, Enoch. Appreciate that, and thank you both for helping us appreciate the Hispanic community in our city, ever growing, and all of the contributions to the fabric of our community. So thank you very much, and I hope everybody was able to come out on Saturday. It was a very good, exciting celebration with tons of activity and foods and fun, and always a good event every year. So now we have a proclamation in recognition of National Suicide Prevention and Action Month. And I think most of us probably know someone or know of someone who has experienced the tragedy that is suicide. And so we have a proclamation that Ms. Hines is going to read, and then I think we have some folks who want to come up and say some words, and I'm glad to have you here this evening. Ms. Hines.
Thank you, Mayor Norton. And this proclamation is being presented also with the help of Councilmember Lindley for purposes of this, and encouraging the conversation of asking people if they're okay, and also allowing people to be able to say they're not okay. With that being said, we have a proclamation by the mayor of the city of Smyrna, National Suicide Prevention and Action Month. Whereas with September being recognized as Suicide Awareness Month, the National Suicide Prevention and Action Month proclamation was created to raise visibility of mental health and proactive suicide prevention resources in our community. We also want to start the conversation, destigmatize it, and help connect people with the appropriate support resources and services. And whereas, according to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, AFSP, more than 49,000 people die by suicide annually in the United States. And whereas, according to Hope for the Day, HFTD, with an average of 132 suicides completed daily, and each one directly impacting 100 additional people, including friends, service members, family, social media connections, and neighbors, we can safely assume everyone has been impacted by suicide. And whereas Smyrna, Georgia, publicly places its full support behind those who work in the field of mental health, education, and law enforcement, and whereas global organizations like Hope for the Day and our local mental health partners like Cobb Collaborative, Highland Rivers, and Tillman House serve on the front lines of a war that many refuse to discuss due to the stigma. And whereas we encourage all residents to take time to understand mental health through education and recognize that we need to take care of our mental health while we take care of each other. And now, therefore, I, Derek Norton, Mayor of the City of Smyrna, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2024 as Suicide Prevention and Action Month here in Smyrna, Georgia. Thank you.
Y'all want to come up? You've been elected.
And there are members here. Irene Barton is here from Cobb Collaborative, and she'll do a further introduction.
Yes, thank you. Mayor, council members, thank you so much for raising awareness of this often difficult topic. As the mayor said, just about everyone has been impacted or knows someone who has been impacted by suicide. Our aim, and with our partners from Highland Rivers here, we aim to increase the number of gatekeepers in our community so that we all can recognize the warning signs and increase the protective factors, which include connections to others in our community and concrete resources. And also we want to raise awareness about 988, the National Suicide and Crisis Hotline. It's been in existence for just about 2 years, but this year was the first official 988 National Day. And so we've brought the city some magnets signs and a couple of posters, and if you need more, you know where we are, just down the road. We hope everybody takes advantage of the opportunities to become more familiar with the words around suicide and get comfortable with asking someone, are you thinking about suicide? Are you thinking about harming yourself? There is definitely a misconception that I don't want to say it because that might put the thought in that person's head. And research tells us that that person has already thought about it. But you, each of us, by individually reaching out, can be that connection, you know, saying something like, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. What do you need right now? Let's call someone. Do you know about 988? These are all things that we can do. So with me, I have my board member, Allison Curtis, who is with Cobb and Douglas Public Health, and I have a reluctant colleague from Noel from Highland Rivers. Come on up here, please. And then other staff member, Alex Wynn. So thank you so much for, again, broaching this difficult and sometimes uncomfortable topic, but we need to raise awareness. And would you like to say anything on behalf of Highland Rivers? No, you're sure? So.
Yes, we do.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So I'm not familiar geographically with the area, but we do have outpatient services as well as a clubhouse for youth. And we provide psychiatric care, psychiatric nursing care, individual treatment, family, outpatient, and substance use and abuse. I don't know, maybe Irene, Mother's Making a Change, is that Smyrna?
That is in Austell, so not far.
And I'm the suicide prevention specialist for Highland Rivers Health, so I serve the entire county and anything prevention, intervention, and postvention related.
We certainly appreciate all that y'all do, and we know that mental health is a ever-growing focal point in every community, post-pandemic and beyond. So we just thank y'all. Really appreciate y'all being here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Do a picture? Okay, we can do that.
Allison? You're not going to come out and then just sit there. You need to be you in the middle, you in the top one? Should you be? Oh.
You guys should come over here.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
y'all.
much.
Appreciate you.
Glad your back safe and sound.
Thank you, Alex.
So, thank you, Mayor, very much.
All right, we're going to move on now to the rest of the agenda. We start with item 7, which is community development items. The first, item A, zoning request Z24-010, a zoning amendment to allow modifications to the currently approved site plan land lot 380, 4.95 acres, 3240 South Cobb Drive, LBX Four Corners LLC. This item is to be tabled until the October 21st, 2024 meeting at the request of the applicant, so I need a motion, please, to table this item until that date.
I move to make the motion.
Ms. Wilkinson makes a motion to table it. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Gould. All those in favor, please vote. And I should mention, Glenn Pickens is traveling this evening and not able to be with us. That's approved 6-0. Thank you. Item B, Z24-012. This is a public hearing, zoning request Z24-012, allow rezoning from R15 and LC to R15 conditional for use as a church. This is land lot 558, 5.34 acres, 3030, 3040, and 3050 Atlanta Road, City of Smyrna. And this is an interesting situation that doesn't occur often, that the city is, this is city-initiated rezoning, and the City of Smyrna is the applicant. So Rusty, if you'll give us all that we need to know, and then we'll open up the public hearing after that.
Yes, sir. Rusty Martin, Community Development Director for the City of Smyrna. This is a rezoning for the property next to Reed House on Atlanta Road. This is, as the mayor said, a city-initiated zoning, which means it comes to council directly and not through planning and zoning. The properties in question are 3030, 3040, and 3050 Atlanta Road. Two of the properties are zoned R15. One of the properties, the long property in pink there, is zoned limited commercial. So the properties that are zoned R15 are residential single-family zoning designation. The limited commercial is a light commercial zoning designation. There were 3 single-family houses on the property. Those houses have been demolished within the past month as part of the contract stipulations for the purchase of the property. The property is being proposed to be rezoned from R15 in limited commercial to R15 conditional. The proposed use for the property is a church. Church uses are allowed within every zoning district within the city's zoning ordinance. The reason staff is recommending the rezoning to R15 is because that's the most restrictive zoning classification for a church, and it has additional protections for residential properties that surround that. So this zoning is going to be site plan specific. I'll get to the site plan in a minute. They have a specific site plan that shows the building footprint, the parking areas, and how all that relates to the adjoining properties around the subject property. The future land use for the city has this property designated as medium density residential. The proposed church use and the proposed zoning classification don't require a change to the future land use plan, so it'll remain the same. As you guys can see in front of you, this is the proposed site plan for the church. They're proposing a 60,000 square foot facility with an assembly area and then office and classroom space for their youth ministry. In addition to the church building, they have 222 parking spaces. There's a total lot coverage for the entire site of 50%. And we'll run through the different aspects with respect to this site plan. And if I can orient you with respect to this, is Atlanta Road is on the right-hand side of the property. That'll be the front of the building. And then as you move to the rear, in sort of the northern part of that dog leg, those are residential homes that back up to Wills Street. And then on the southern side, behind the Reed House, those are homes that back up on Northview. And then there's Stonegate that on the far west end of the property that has a couple lots that back up to the rear of the property behind the detention pond. This property boundaries. This is a proposed 60,000 square foot facility, 222 parking spaces. The R15 zoning is proposing a 25-foot front setback, 25-foot side setback, 30-foot rear, in addition to the church requirements in the R15 zoning category. It requires that there be a 75-foot setback from joining property lines. There is a vegetative buffer on the north In south property lines, it's a 10-foot buffer. Along the western property lines, it's a 20-foot buffer. This is the location of the stormwater detention pond. There is a deceleration lane proposed for access to the site in front of the site. There is a right in, right out on the northern access point, and then a full signalized access point on the shared driveway between the Reed House and this property. And that's shared access way between the two properties. There are 6 variances associated with this design. The first being a front setback reduction from 50 feet to 25 feet, trying to pull that building away from the residential properties and closer to Atlanta Road. The next is to allow a reduction in the side building setback from 75 feet to 25 feet, and that's on the northern and southern property lines. The third variance is to allow a reduction in landscape buffer from 50 feet to 10 feet along the southern property line, and then 20 feet along the northern and western property lines. And that issue on the southern property line really pertains to the last residential property behind the Reed House. The fourth variance is to allow an increase in impervious surface coverage from 35% to 50%. However, when you look at the limited commercial that's currently out there today, it allows a maximum impervious surface area of 80%. So it's a balancing between the R15 and the limited commercial zoning at this point. And the fifth variance is to allow an increase in building height from 35 feet to 66 feet, and that's to the highest point. However, since we don't have the architectural plans, full architectural plans for this development, we don't know what the true building height is as the zoning ordinance measures it, and that's between the midpoint, or it's the midpoint from the average grade around the building between the eaves and the ridge of the sloped roof. Number 6 is allowing a parking area setback from 20 feet to 10 feet along the southern property line. And that's along that southern property line of the Reed House, and then that last residential lot on Northview Place. These are the proposed building elevations for the church. This type of architecture they're looking at with respect to the site. Some pictures of the subject property. And then surrounding uses and surrounding views. Since this is a conditional zoning, the standard conditions from section 1201 apply with respect to the composition of the building, underground utilities, traffic improvements, burying of debris on site, and then your tree ordinance and landscaping requirements. In addition to those stipulations, there are stipulations related to the minimum setbacks, and we've gone through those already, so those mimic what you've seen on the site plan. 11 allows for the maximum height of 66 feet. 12 requires a minimum landscape buffer of 10 feet along the southern property line and 20 feet on the northern property line and western property line, and then allows an increase in the impervious coverage to 50% for the site. 14 calls for the minimum parking setback to be 10 feet along the southern property line. 15 is the primary access drive shall maintain connection to the Reed House for a circular driveway for fire access and public safety access. 16 requires the dumpster shall be screened by a 3-sided brick enclosure. And then 17 and 18 tie the zoning to the site plan and building elevations shown. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions. Mark Wolf is here from engineering if you guys have any questions related to stormwater management or the traffic signal.
Thank you, Rusty. Just sitting here looking at the site, and I remember a couple of different uses proposed for that land over the years. I remember Pulte Homes came in. Do you remember how many homes they were trying to put in there?
They
I
were
was
looking
sitting here
at-
trying to remember that.
I think it was 36 townhomes.
36.
That we've had a couple
36
residential.
townhomes, and I remember Councilman Stoner at the time having a meeting and about got either beat up or run out of town. I'm not sure which, but they didn't want that. Nobody
Yeah,
wanted that.
That was a rough one.
And then we had that was going to be the site of the aquatics and gymnastics facility, and there were concerns about that and noise and different things. I think we've arrived at a good use for this property, allowing a longstanding religious institution to remain close to our downtown, and then in turn allow us to expand our downtown footprint in the Market Village and beyond. So thank you for the presentation. I'd open it up for any questions now. Ms. Wilkinson.
Thank you, Mayor. When you were going through your conditions, I heard you say that it's required for the three-sided brick for the dumpster enclosure, and I was wondering, where is that located on that map?
It's not shown on the plan. We'll deal with that during plan review.
Okay, all right,
And
thank you.
typically, when they come in for permitting, they'll show a location. We'll send it to Waste Management for them to verify the size of the structure is appropriate for the dumpster they're providing, and that they can access it and get in and out of the site appropriately.
Okay. I was kind of curious, so there may have to remove a couple of parking spaces, or is that possible? Would there be a space for it?
There's enough room on the site to accommodate it. So
Okay.
yes, they ultimately may have to remove some parking spaces, but this is sort of the maximum plan that the church wants to do.
Okay.
They still have to, after all this, have to go back to their congregation and agree on what they want to build and what's going to be there. This is just trying to envision what the full scale of what they want to do at this point. And then they'll finalize what that looks like, and we'll make sure they adhere to the stipulations.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from council? Yes, Mr. Welch.
Question, I think, for Mark. Mark, I think everybody knows that the signal will be used very sporadically. How will that signal be controlled? I mean, will it be something that in the normal course of the day, it'll be a caution light going north and south, or will it just be a typical signal that'll, run just like any other signal on Atlanta Road?
So all those details haven't been worked out, but it'll likely be, like you said, a typical signal where it detects cars on the side street, and then is the timing's coordinated with the Light at Atlanta in spring. So yeah, it won't be a flashing yellow, I don't imagine. It would be, like I said, there'd be a detection element. And most of their uses are off-peak hours on Sundays and outside the morning and PM rush hours.
And that signal serves, it'll be a shared drive with the Reed House as well. Yeah. So that's okay. Any other questions, comments?
Mr. Bader, just if you could.
Mr. Gould.
So just a little background. So Rusty and Mark and ourselves and the church leadership met with some residents and went through just a number of really reasonable concerns and questions. And I thought the church leadership did a great job of sharing what they knew in the moment and answering questions. But could you, since this is a little bit unusual, different process, I should say, Rusty, could you walk through, like, say, questions that came up around, vegetation buffer and lighting and things like that, how, just for the benefit of the residents, how that's going to get answered once the church knows more specifically on their design?
Yes, so most of the questions centered around stormwater management and how the water is going to leave the site and how it's going to be managed on site. What's going to happen with respect to the buffers that surround the parking lot that extends back into the residential properties, how lighting is handled, and then what the church plans to do from a security standpoint with respect to securing that lot when it's not being used by the church. From the city's standpoint and how we handle that stuff is typically through the permitting process. So with respect to the lighting, the church will develop their civil plans. They'll include a lighting plan that has a photometric plan that shows the locations of the poles, the types of fixtures are on that poles, and then that photometric plan shows the illumination of the parking area and how that light is not allowed to leave the property boundaries. So at that point, they'll show property's not escaping. This fixture, may have these reflectors on it or deflectors on it and keep the light centered in the middle of the lot. In addition, the church also heard their concerns and talked about security cameras and then possibly limiting access back there and stuff like that. But they'll have to decide how they want to handle that at that point. With respect to stormwater management, during the land disturbance process and permitting process, the engineer of record for the church will have to provide a full hydrology study. So they'll look at what's the site today and what's coming off that site, and then plan for at least a 10% reduction from today's runoff, as well as deal with water quality and make sure that it's not causing an adverse impact downstream. So they're going to look at, where's the water leaving the site today, where's it going, and then looking downstream at all the impacts with respect to that and the infrastructure down there. And they either handle that on their site and make detention larger and hold the water there, or if downstream conditions can accommodate, then they'll let it go at whatever rate. But Mark looks at that, looks at all the plans and reports, and does not sign off until we're assured that it's not going to create an impact. The landscape buffers and the trees are also handled during the land disturbance process. So all the trees get inventoried on site with respect to the species of the tree, the size of the trees. They show what they're protecting and saving, and then what is going to be removed. They're required to meet 100 inches of tree per acre on the site, so it's a over 5 acre site, so they got to provide 500 inches of tree on site, whether that's preserved or replanted. And if they remove any specimen-sized trees, they've got to replace those at an inch per inch basis. So over and above what the density requirement is. So, and that's capped at 50 inches per acre. So they'll go through at that point and have their landscape architect develop a plan that meets those requirements with the landscape buffer, tree planting, parking lot islands, everything with respect to that, street frontage, and all that will be taken care of at that point. If they can replant everything on site, that's great, and we'll hold that to them during the construction process. If they can only accommodate, they can accommodate as much as they can, and they can't plant everything, then they'll pay into the tree bank for the rest of that for us to use for plantings at like the Reed House or Windy Hill, stuff like that. So, but those were the main concerns at that point. And typically those buffers will be evergreen trees. So they'll be your cedars, your cypress, your cryptomeria, all that is looked at that point to make sure it's an appropriate screening tree.
Right, thank you, thanks. And I think, both of you and Mark, I think, had a chance to hear their concerns, which you did, right? And you reiterated them. So that'll be important for us.
Mark and I are on the plan review. So it's not, you're not talking to us and then we're having to relay that to somebody else. Right. It's got to ensure that happens. Right. We're part of that review team that looks at that to make sure that happens. Right.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Ms. Wilkinson.
Thank you. One of the things I was thinking about too, and I didn't remember seeing it on the plan, and I know that's just a conceptual plan, but I sort of imagine people would be walking, on the sidewalk, the multi-use trail, possibly walking to the church and just making sure there's sidewalks that lead up to the church.
Yes, there's a sidewalk connection on both the north and the southern access points.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And when the decel lane is installed, they'll also be putting back the 10-foot multi-use trail there as well.
Anybody else? All right, thank you. We'll now open up the public hearing. We only have one signed up, Mr. Charlie Bounds, 3150 Northview Place. Is there anybody else who would like to speak for or against this item? Please come up and be sworn in by our city attorney. Sure. If there's anybody who wants to come up, if you even think you want to speak, come on up and get sworn in by our city attorney, please.
Just have you all raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear the testimony you give in this matter to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I did.
All right. First up, and if you'll state your name and address for the record, please.
It's Johnny Plunkett, 91 Concord Road, Southwest, Smyrna. I like to live in Mapleton, but I just want to point out it's not just a church. They also do schooling. They do a kindergarten, so there will be an impact on the rush hour traffic because there are people bringing their children to the school every day. I mean, to the church every day. So it's not just a church, so it won't just be a Sunday, Wednesday night kind of thing. Also, I asked to get the appraisal value of the properties involved, and I requested that from the city clerk. The city has stated that they want to keep that a secret, that they are keeping the value of the property, the appraisal value of the property that they're purchasing a secret. And I submitted, they sent me a letter from the city, and I want to have that letter submitted to the county as part of the public record for the hearing. Does that make sense? So she has the city has the record, has the letter. I have mislaid it.
Mayor, if I may clarify,
Sure.
the open records request for the documentation was sent to legal. Legal instructed us that that information was not available, not that we wanted to keep it a secret. And so at the time of the request, the information was not available. I have not had any further requests for the information and have not been made aware by legal if the information is currently available.
No, the letter says that it quotes the law. The city does not have to provide that information. There is a way for the city can legally keep that information secret. It's part of the Keep Things Secret Act. Whatever the act is, I have no idea what the act is that keeps it. But the letter, if they just submit the letter to the public record, anybody can read the letter that the city sent to me. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Do you have a copy of it with you this evening?
I don't have a copy of the letter with me.
Okay.
They sent it to me, and I have either I mislaid it or it didn't.
It's been forwarded to Mr. Cochran, so we can get a copy from him.
Okay, thank you.
Come on up.
Hey, good evening, Mayor and Council. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. My name is Charlie Bounds, native Smyrna resident. Work for Commercial Signs, also here in Smyrna. I know a few of you.
I've been there a time or two.
Yeah, that's for sure. I used to drive Travis to school. I think he still owes me some gas money.
And you owe me some stories.
That's right. So I'm not normally the one that comes up and speaks for our neighborhood at these kind of events, we'll call them. I'm normally the one that sends a real long email to all of you. You've probably gotten some of them, but I guess as far as the neighborhood in general, we are for the rezoning. We are for having a church. It's by far better than any other development opportunity that's come across. We just want to make sure that the residents are protected, that there's some accountability and some transparency from the city and the council. Our major concerns, Rusty did a great job of summarizing them, but it's privacy, it's water runoff, it's traffic, it's property values. My property adjoins the rear corner, so my view is going to be the detention pond, and that's a concern for us. Now, I don't know if this kind of setting is a question and answer or more rhetorical, but it's the residents' understanding that prior development opportunities here were requiring underground detention. And then now we're talking about above ground detention. I know that's a lot less expensive for the church to do above ground, but that is a lot larger impact on the adjoining properties. So I just want that to be said. Other thing is, the traffic is certainly concerned, just like this other gentleman pointed out. I think there's over 100 students in the preschool program. So carpool in the mornings and around lunchtime is going to impact that area to a greater extent. And I know, it's also our understanding that putting a traffic signal there located at the end of the driveway for the Reed House is not in compliance with the state and county DOT recommendations. I know the city can do what you want to do, but I know, as far as the state and county are concerned, that is not recommended because they're too close to the other traffic signals. That is a concern. We're concerned about cut-through traffic, but again, that just needs to be stated. Other things, I guess I'm a little surprised with now hearing about 6 variances. When we met with Tim, the church, and a couple of our neighbors, there were 2 variances disclosed. There was one, the only one that was mentioned was the front setback, and then we started asking about impervious surface area, and then there was admission that, well, it's probably going to exceed that too, but they weren't sure to what extent. Well, now we're looking at 6, and including a 66-foot building height, which is kind of shocking to me. And I think even when we were looking at some of these condominium or townhome developments, it wasn't near that tall. And I know this is a church. I don't know if 66 feet is just the peak, or is that the steeple, or the cross? What is it? But that seemed very tall, which would be even more of a concern for residents to have some privacy that adjoin the back of the property. That's really the summary of our concerns. I think I'm going to be reaching out to Tim. I think it warrants additional meetings with a larger group of neighbors and the church, like we've done with some of these other development attempts. So we do need to get that into place. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate it.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you speaking, and I, applaud Tim for reaching out and doing a proactive meeting early. We've not even rezoned the property yet, and I know that the closing has not happened yet, but reaching out and addressing your concerns. I think you'll find that the First Baptist Church will be they want to be a partner in this community. They want to be a good neighbor. I think that you're going to find, unlike not saying anything bad about Pulte Homes, but any developer there, I think you're going to find the Baptist Church is going to be your best neighbor of all of the other options that could have been. So we look forward to working with the neighbors and the neighborhood at whole, and the church also. I know they have a representative here. So thank you, and look forward to, as this goes on, working out all the details to make sure it's good for everybody. And you wanted to speak, sir.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time. I'm Tom Donnelly. I live on Pretty Branch. My wife tells me not to speak too long with the pastor after the church service, so I'll try to make this brief. I grew up, I've been there for years and years. I lived next door to Max Parnell, who is a namesake for Max Bacon. And when Max Parnell, one night, he was in the hospital and there was nobody there, I thought there was a prowler down there and went down there as Max Bacon. I almost called the police. Luckily, I didn't. Later on, I ran into Max, and we were in Costco, and I walked up to him. I was joking to him. I said, anybody say to you that you look a lot like Max Bacon? And he turned around and he said, pity him. Just kind of laughed and walked off. But anyway, to make a long story short, I don't want to make this too long. My only question to Rusty and my concern is the retention pond and the proper maintenance of it, and who is really responsible for that?
Yeah, his question is related to the maintenance of the retention pond. That would be the church's responsibility. As part of the permitting process and the land development process, in accordance to state code as well, they're required to provide a inspection and maintenance agreement with the city with respect to that detention pond. So once they find out their final design and what it's going to be and what improvements are going to be within it, then their design professional at that point will go through and develop a inspection and maintenance agreement for that facility and what they need to do to maintain that on a yearly basis, as well as for the life of the facility, whether that's yearly mowing and then every 5 years if they're demucking the pond and so forth.
Do you ever monitor that on a periodic basis?
Yes, our guys will look at that. If there's issues downstream that are occurring, track it back to where it's coming from, and they'll do periodic inspections on that. And if they see any issues with the pond, they'll go to the property owner at that point and say, hey, you need to do this in accordance to your inspection maintenance agreement. And that agreement is recorded at Cobb County Superior Court. It runs with the property, so if the property changes hands, the new owner is responsible for that as well. But during the development process, they'll construct the pond. Once they get to their CO, they'll also do an as-built certification that the pond was built in accordance with the construction drawings. So there's levels to how we ensure that it's constructed appropriately, and then they have the proper, maintenance guidelines for the life of the pond.
Okay, good. And anyway, we can all relax because I like Tim. I like the church. I like my neighbors. I don't really have any real complaints or anything, but I do want to say something about what's actually happened. And Mayor Norton, I think you probably know about this some too, but I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page on what's going on. Obviously, I grew up at the end of the street next to Max Bacon, or Max Parnell, the namesake of the mayor. But anyway, been there for years, since the 1960s. So there have been a lot of changes there. There's a cul-de-sac under Forest Drive. And obviously, over the years, it's obvious, there's lots of changes, lots of development, variance approvals, whatnot. Recently, like they've been done at the end of the street, right up above the cul-de-sac of Forest Drive. And essentially, to make a long story short, over time, this cul-de-sac has become obsolete. And it's ineffective, basically. Now, why is Tom saying that? Well, and I think you've been over there, Mayor Norton. I think you know about it. And Tim's been very helpful. I can only say good things about Tim. And why did I say that? Well, I can show you videos and photos of when we do get a really bad rainstorm, what happens at that cul-de-sac on Forest Drive, it basically turns into a dam. And the neighbor can go up there and he's actually done a video of where it is turned into like a whirlpool on the north side where our property is and the house is. And on the other side of the cul-de-sac in the street, it's 8 or 10 feet lower. Obviously, it's telling you that it's not functioning properly. You can just look at it and see the videos and pictures and all and whatnot. Well, why are you here and why are you concerned? Well, what happens is when it backs up all the way to the family property there. When it does that, it turns basically also a lake in the crawl space underneath the house, which basically also causes it to mildew and destroy the house. In addition to that, behind the house, there's this huge poplar tree next to the stream. And that is back there to control the backyard and not make sure it doesn't wash away or whatnot. It's nice having a big tree in the backyard. Everybody likes trees. But when it floods like this so badly now, it's being saturated. And from what I understand, that if it were to fall on the house, there would be difficulties as far as being able to get it to be rebuilt because it is somewhat in the flood zone. So not only am I concerned about destroying the house and the things happening to the house and the value and insurance possibly being affected too, and then having an issue maybe possibly with the tree, all of those things, what I'm wanting to hear basically is just yes, that this is going to be a top priority.
I know that, Mr. Gould, you've been involved in this. And
yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor.
I know our staff has been involved? I don't know the detail that probably Councilman does, but
So we had a
like
good
to-
meeting out at the end of Pretty Branch with Tom and some neighbors
he's been
and Mark
great.
and was there and talked about the culvert that you mentioned. And engineering is going to look at that culvert, some additional, see what can be done to help get water through there more quickly and keep that floodplain from flooding as minimal as possible, right? And all that. So I know it's on engineering's list. And, yeah, we'd like to try to get that rectified as soon as we can.
Yeah, I mean, I must say, only good things about Tim. My only concern is just for this to be a top priority.
Yes, sir.
That's my only concern.
keep
I just
it-
want
you
to
keep it
make
as a
sure
top
we're all on the
priority.
same page.
Yes.
And we're trying to put this as a top priority, and
Because it's impacting one of your properties and the neighbors downstream, and so we know it's important. And yeah.
so, and, it's kind of related to some
Thank
of all
you.
these other things that are going on. So anyway, I
Thank
just
you
want to make
for,
sure
being
we're
here
all on the
tonight.
same page.
Appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is all the folks who wanted to speak, I believe. So we'll close the public hearing, and I'll entertain a motion to approve item B, the rezoning request for the Atlanta Road property. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Welch. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gould. All those in favor, please vote. We're waiting on Ms. Hines. And that's approved 6-0. Thank you, and thank you to everybody that was here and spoke tonight. All right, we don't have any privilege license and show cause hearings tonight, so we'll move on to formal business. And as I said before, we've got an agreement, an MOU, and then mostly this is purchasing votes tonight. So item A is approval of the memorandum of understanding between the City of Smyrna and the Trust for Public Land for the cooperation toward the completion of a portion of the Riverland Showcase Trail that is located within Riverview Park, and authorize the mayor to execute any related documents. Ms. Kristen, any background, please?
Yes, in 2020, the Trust for Public Land and the city were among multiple groups and agencies that completed the Chattahoochee Riverlands study. Since that time, TPL has identified that the initial portion of this trail will be located in South Cobb County, including a portion that lies within the Smyrna city limits, including Riverview Park and land soon to be dedicated to the city as public parkland. TPL would construct the recreational bicycle and pedestrian trail and associated amenities using philanthropic dollars to build this portion of the trail. The memorandum of understanding would grant TPL a temporary easement for access and construction on the city-owned properties. Staff recommends approval of the MOU between the City of Smyrna and the Trust for Public Land for the cooperation toward the completion of a portion of the Riverlands Showcase Trail that is located within Riverview Park, and authorize the mayor to execute any related documents.
Thank you, Kristen. And this is in Ward 7. I know Councilman Oglesby's been very active with Trust for Public Land and a lot of other entities in that area, trying to make sure we've got great parks and rec amenities and connections. And is there anything that you want to add to what she said?
No, you said a lot there. With our efforts to develop this area and make it a beautiful space for everyone, this is just another added element to it. I'm excited about it, and I know the residents that stay in the area are, but I think this whole city will be excited about having a river walk by the river, right, in the city of Smyrna. So,
Is there any other discussion? I'll take a motion to approve.
so moved.
Have a motion to approve by Mr. Oglesby, second by Ms. Hines. All those in favor, please vote. And that's approved 6-0. Thank you. Item B, authorization to replace 2005 John Deere 410 backhoe with TB 260 track hoe and TL 10V2 track loader in the amount of $146,600 from Cobb County Tractor, located at 1520 Cobb Parkway North, Marietta, Georgia 30062, from the Vehicle Replacement Fund. That's pretty straightforward. Anything to add, Ms. Kristen?
Nope, just, the only thing to add is it was originally budgeted at 150,000 and it came under budget, at 146.6, so,
We love it when things come under budget.
yes, we do.
Any discussion? May I have a motion? Motion do pass by Mr. Lindley,
Second.
second by Mr. Welch. All those in favor, please vote. And that's approved 6-0. Item C, authorization to purchase Vactor TruVac TRXX hydro excavator in the amount of $126,115 from Environmental Products Group, located at 4410 Wendell Drive, Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia 30336, to be funded from Water Sewer CIP fiscal year 2025. Anything to add, Ms. Kristen?
Just that with this addition, they will allow the crews to access and repair water sewer infrastructure without possible disruption of other utilities, so it'll make their operations a lot more efficient.
Any discussion? All right, may I have a motion? Motion do pass by Mr. Lindley, second by Ms. Hines. All those in favor, please vote. And that's approved 6-0. Item D, authorization to amend the fiscal year 2025 adopted budget for the Vehicle Replacement Fund to increase transfers in from the general fund, add a new project in the Vehicle Replacement Fund titled Recycling Vehicles, and amend the fiscal year 2025 adopted budget for the general fund to increase transfers out to the Vehicle Replacement Fund, all in the amount of $237,500 to be funded by general fund reserves. Ms. Chris, in the background, please.
So council approved the purchase of this new recycling truck at the meeting on August 26, 2024. That agenda item did not include all of the required budget language that we need as a finance department to make the necessary amendments to the budget. So this is just a cleanup and housekeeping on that item.
Thank you. Any discussion? May I have a motion? Motion do pass by Mr. Lindley, second by Ms. Hines. All those in favor, please vote. That's approved 6-0. Item E, authorization to amend the fiscal year 2025 adopted budget for the Vehicle Replacement Fund to increase transfers in from the general fund in the amount of $38,000, amend the project budget for community development vehicles to increase it by $4,000, amend the project budget for highways and streets vehicles to increase by $18,000, and amend the project budget for sanitation vehicles to increase it by $16,000, and amend the fiscal year 2025 adopted budget for the general fund to increase transfers out to the Vehicle Replacement Fund in the amount of $38,000 to be funded by general fund reserves. Ms. Robinson, any background, please?
This is similar to the previous item. Mayor and council heard this and approved it at the August 26, 2024 meeting. This is just cleanup for all the transfers required to fund these items.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Motion approved by Mr. Welch, second by Mr. Lindley. All those in favor, please vote. And that's approved 6-0. Item F, approval of the fiscal year 2024 year-end budget amendment. Ms. Robinson, the background, please.
Negative variances on the budget to actual for departmental expenditures need to be eliminated and cleaned up in anticipation of our annual audit. An annual audit of the city's financials is required at the conclusion of the fiscal year. In order to close out and finalize the financial statements, we have to make these final adjustments. And
this is what we do every
This is
year.
what we do every year. It's nothing new. So just a little bit of cleanup and housekeeping.
Any discussion? May I have a motion? Motion do pass by Mr. Lindley,
Second.
second by Mr. Gould. All those in favor, please vote. And that's approved 6-0. Item G, authorization for the approval of RFQ 25-004 for the purchase of 5 2024 Ford utility pursuit vehicles from Prater Ford Incorporated, 704 South Wall Street in Calhoun, Georgia, and the total amount of $253,210, and to outfit these vehicles with all necessary equipment from Diversified Electronics, 1290 Field Parkway, Marietta, Georgia, in the amount of $50,237.16, to be paid from the Vehicle Replacement Fund fiscal year 2025 adopted budget, and authorize the mayor to sign and execute all related documents. Anything to add, Ms. Robinson?
There was a project in the 2025 Vehicle Replacement Fund. It was for 6 vehicles for admin, 4 for 6 vehicles for uniform, 4 for admin. Purchasing of the police department completed the bidding process on August 9, 2024, and they also received various quotes from multiple vendors related to the outfitting of the vehicles with the necessary equipment. We're going to piggyback off of the county on cost to outfit these vehicles.
Any discussion from council? May I have a motion? Motion by Ms. Hines do pass. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Lindley. All those in favor, please vote. That's approved 6-0. Item H, authorization for the approval of RFQ 25-005 for the purchase of two 2024 Ford F-150 administrative vehicles from Hardy Family Ford, 1255 Charles Hardy Parkway in Dallas, Georgia, and the total amount of $96,430, and to outfit these vehicles with all necessary equipment from Diversified Electronics, 1290 Field Parkway, Marietta, Georgia, and ProLogix ITS LLC, 106 North Point Parkway, Ackworth, Georgia, in the amount of $24,467.84 to be paid from the Vehicle Replacement Fund fiscal year 2025 adopted budget, and authorize the mayor to sign and execute all related documents. Ms. Robinson.
This is the same project that was adopted. It's just another group of vehicles. Nothing.
Any discussion? And may I have a motion?
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Lindley, second by Mr. Welch. All those in favor, please vote. That's also approved 6-0. Item I, authorization for the approval of RFQ 25-006 for the purchase of one 2024 Ford Explorer XLT 4x4 truck from Phil Brandon Ford of Perry, 2010 US 41, Perry, Georgia, in the total amount of $44,304, and to outfit this vehicle with all necessary equipment from ProLogix ITS LLC, 106 North Point Parkway, Ackworth, Georgia, in the total amount of $5,822.66 to be paid from the Vehicle Replacement Fund FY 2025 adopted budget, and authorize the mayor to sign and execute all related documents. Anything to add, Ms. Robinson?
Same as the previous two.
Okay. May I have a motion, please? Motion to pass by Ms. Hines. Second by Mr. Gould. All those in favor, please vote. And that's approved 6-0. It's the last meeting, we got to go through all this kind of stuff, all right, for a little while? Okay.
Yes.
Item J, authorization for the approval of RFQ 25-007 for the purchase of one 2024 Ford Edge SEL from Phil Brandon Ford of Perry, Georgia, in the total amount of $35,664 to be paid from the Vehicle Replacement Fund fiscal year 2025 adopted budget, and authorize the mayor to sign and execute all related documents.
Same as the previous items.
Okay. May I have a motion, please? Motion to pass by Ms. Hines, second by Mr. Lindley. All those in favor, please vote. And that's approved 6-0. Item K, authorization for the approval of RFQ 25-008 for the purchase of one 2024 Chevrolet Traverse from Hardy Chevrolet, 1249 Charles Hardy Parkway in Dallas, Georgia, a total amount of $39,995, and to outfit this vehicle with all necessary equipment from Monster Customs in the total amount of $7,079.89 to be paid from the Vehicle Replacement Fund fiscal year 2025 adopted budget, and authorize the mayor to sign and execute all related documents. If there's no discussion, I'll take a motion, please. Motion to pass by Ms. Hines, second by Mr. Lindley. All those in favor, please vote. We're waiting on Mr. Gould. Thank you, Mr. Gould. And that's approved 6-0. I should, all of these Ford, we have a Ford dealership here in Smyrna, and I asked staff, was effort made to purchase these locally, and there was effort made. But they were not the low bidders, and so
Not submit a bid.
they didn't submit a bid.
Correct.
Yeah. Hard to sell, hard to buy Fords from local if they don't submit the bids. All right, we'll go to item L, authorization to amend the fiscal year 2025 adopted budget for the Vehicle Replacement Fund to increase the Police Administration Project $50,000 and decrease the Jail Project $50,000.
So all of the previous items that were just approved, there was one project for police administration in the amount of $540,000. The total cost of all the vehicles they're purchasing is $553,211, which resulted in an overage. They are requesting that these, a project that was set up for the jail in the amount of $50,000 be reallocated to the police admin to cover the overages on all of their vehicles. They are no longer in need of the jail vehicle.
Any discussion? May I have a motion?
Motion to,
Motion to pass by Mr. Welch, second by Mr. Lindley. All those in favor, please vote. Ms. Wilkinson. And that's approved 6-0. Got two more, y'all. Item M, authorization for the approval of the recommendation 25-009 for the fiscal year 2025 CIP budgeted furniture, workstation console, and IT hardware replacement in the E911 Center in the total amount of $167,132.08 by the following vendors: Watson Consoles in 12 Trees Lane in Washington, Net Planner System at Northwoods Parkway in Peachtree Corners, CDWG 75 Remittance Drive in Chicago, Illinois, Monoprice at Point Drive, Suite 400 in California, Southern Computer Warehouse in Marietta Parkway in Marietta, Dell Technologies in Atlanta, and authorize the mayor to sign and execute all related documents. Ms. Robinson, anything to add?
The only thing to add is that this was budgeted in CIP at $168,000, and the project came in under budget at $167,132.08, and that's all.
For those keeping score, that's two that have come in under budget.
Yes,
And-
yes, it is.
Okay. Any discussion? May I have a motion, please? So, motion to pass by Mr. Lindley, second by Mr. Oglesby. All those in favor, please vote. And that's approved 6-0. And our last one is item N, authorization for the approval to enter into an agreement with Microsoft Corporation, Department 551, volume licensing, 6880 Sierra Center Parkway in Reno, Nevada, for a term of 36 months at an annual cost of $99,412.92, which is $298,238.76 for the total term, to renew the city's Microsoft 365 subscriptions to be paid from the IT purchase software budget line item, and authorize the mayor to sign and execute all related documents. Ms. Robinson has nothing to add. I will entertain a motion. Motion to pass by Mr. Lindley, second by Ms. Hines. All those in favor, please vote. And that's approved 6-0. And I'm done reading, and I will ask item 10, the consent agenda, to be read by Ms. Robinson for council approval.
Yes. Item A, MIN 2024-143, approval of the August 22nd, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes. Item B, MIN 2024-145, approval of the August 26, 2024 pre-council meeting minutes. C, MIN 2024-147, approval of the August 26, 2024 mayor and council meeting minutes. D, authorization 2024-138, authorize Atkins Park Tavern, Zucca Bar and Pizzeria Vintage Tavern, the Corner Taqueria, the Stout Brothers, Cafe Lucia, and the Vineyard Wine Market, Village Bourbon and Cigar, to operate alcohol sales stations, trailers outside of their respective businesses, as well as having authorized through signed agreement Premier Events City Park Concessions as alcohol sales management for all areas, with the exception of the Market Village Merchants area, at the following approved events: City of Smyrna Culture and Spirit Festival and the 152nd birthday celebration, to be held from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturday, October 12, 2024. Item E, authorization 2024-140, approve the closing of the following streets for the Smyrna Parks and Rec Spooky Fest: West Spring Street from below the fountain to King Street from the Dennis parking lot to Bank Street from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Friday, October 18, 2024.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? So moved by Mr. Lindley, second by Ms. Hines. All those in favor, please vote. And that's approved 6-0. Next is our citizen participation portion of our meeting, and we've got one person signed up for public comment this evening, Reverend Michael Walker. I'd invite you to come up now. 305 Stockton Court. Welcome. You've sat through a lot to speak tonight, and we appreciate that.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Thank you for allowing me to come up to speak to you. I've been appointed as the new pastor at King's Chapel Church over here in Rose Garden area. This area over here, the city itself, I grew up in Smyrna. I grew up here. I went to the elementary school there in the Rose Garden. I went to Nash Middle School, to Campbell. And from Campbell, I went to Grambling and played football at Grambling. So for 2 years, I didn't play all 4 years. But what I'm bringing to you, and I'm asking that if you could help me with it, the problem here I'm having. Over at the church over there, we're having a problem with drug traffic. Drug traffic. I've talked to them. We have, I wrote it down here. I said, standing you can watch and see them passing money in cars when they come through the neighborhood. They'll stop. This is right across the street from my church. Right across the street. They'll stop. You see money passing hands right there from the car to the person there on the sidewalk, and then it go off. And I've had some conversations with them about this thing. My wife and I, my daughter, we came down because it's a small congregation, so we come down and we do the maintenance of the church ourselves, you know, vacuuming, cleaning. We pull up there one day, and there were 2 cars on the church parking lot. They had the beer cans on top of the car and just having themselves a party right there in our parking lot. So I asked them to move, trying to be nice about it. I didn't want to yell anything. Well, one of the guys who were inebriated at the time, he offered to do a little something to my body, you know, he said. But I told him, I said, young man, don't let the gray hair fool you. And I said, you don't want to mess with me. The girl that was with him, they moved and went on about their business. And I told him, I said, if I see you here again, I'm going to call the police. You're drinking, you're drunk, you will be arrested. Finding, no kids in here now, finding human feces on our property. In front and in the back of the church. I mean, come on, this is God's house here. This is not out in the woods somewhere. We're finding these things, and trash, beer cans, candy wrappers, bags from McDonald's, Burger King, Zaxby's on the property. So when we come by on Sunday morning, when we come getting ready for church, the first thing we do is I follow the wife into the church and we make sure no one's inside. I get a trash bag, and first thing I do is go out and start picking up trash off the property. This is God's property, we've had to have an abandoned SUV pull off of the property. Someone pulled into the property, just into the driveway, and just left it there. No key in it, no anything. Just abandoned it right there on our property. And this is how I got to this situation, how my wife and I got down here from Woodstock. I'm the assistant pastor. I was assistant pastor up there at Allen Temple Church. And the 3 churches that are over here in Rose Garden neighborhood, our church in Woodstock could swallow those 3 churches up easily. I mean, we have a tremendously church up there, and over 2,000 members up there. But because the pastor that was there at our annual conference, she had basically had a nervous breakdown. She just wanted, I'm tired. I got to get out of here. You put me in this church and I just need to be gone. So the bishop moved her and put me in. I was a member of Allen Temple for 47 years. And then they brought me back down here. I guess they know that was from the neighborhood, or from the neighborhood. So I accepted the challenge. Accepted the challenge to come down to do something for the church. I love the community. I still have family there in the community. I know a lot of the people there. But this kind of activity is not a good service for for our neighborhood. It's really not. So what we've done, I fixed the lights on the outside, external lights, and did a little wiring, got that working, got the wires going. I posted signs out there, no parking sign, and it says, your cars will be towed away. They're out there now. We had the alarm system readjusted, so it's a little more sensitive than it was. I don't know if anyone broke in. No one has broken into the church yet, thank God. But you know, we have this activity going on the property, and I've enlisted the next door neighbor. If you're looking from the street at the church, the family that lives over here, and I think they've been there for like 15 years, I believe. He's a pastor. So he and his wife are now, they're in like passive surveillance of the church for us. So we're just asking, you know, if something can be done. My mother, God rest her soul, she used to live behind Rose Garden School. Annie Conley. Some of you may know her, but the police used to park in her driveway. I mean, she gave them permission that they could park in her driveway, and they would, you know, just look through the neighborhood and see people running stop signs or what have you. And she would give them something to drink and stuff like that. And it was like a great service for her and for them because they had a place they could park. And so what I'm asking is, if we just have a little more
you want more police presence?
There.
Sure.
More presence there, you know, to keep them. When we had our back to school jamboree, we had fire department and the police department there. We had a wonderful time. The police had a wonderful time. They helped with the kids in the games. We had a game truck. We had a bouncer thing out there near the street over there. We had, and the police came over, police and fire department came there. They helped me with barbecue and cooking hot dogs and stuff like that for the kids. And we gave out 78 backpacks to the kids. Came over. They had a ball. But again, you know, we're trying to reach out to the neighborhood. We're reaching out. And I've had some of my members from the church in Allen Temple up there say, Reverend Walker, why did you go down there? And I have to explain to them, that's my neighborhood. That's where I grew up. So, you know, coming back down this way was not really a big labor for me. It was like I said, it was a challenge, but something that I think I'm up to. My wife and I are both, we're fighters. We're fighters.
We appreciate y'all, and I know that Councilwoman Hines is very in tune with her ward, and I'm sure you're about to make the commitment that I'm about to make. We'll help with our police, and you know, I know that it's a small congregation. I know funds are tight, but there are other ways that we might be able to help you with some off-duty police and increase patrols. And I'd like to have a meeting with you and Councilwoman Hines and the police department, the police chief. Let's see what we can do together to make that environment better, because nobody should be having to deal with that. And
yeah, and just so that you're aware, I've been aware of what's going on there, and I've been talking with Chief Zagans. I've talked with our sheriff's office as well, who has organized drug task force as well. So there are things that are going on that you may not be aware of it, but I want you to know we have heard about the situation.
Yes.
And several law enforcement agencies are working on that, and also with the county commission as well. But I definitely would like to have us have a meeting so we can kind of tell you a little bit about what we've been doing and what we can help do for you as well.
I would love to. And the mayor, I knew Mr. Arthur Bacon. I know the whole Bacon family. I even played football with David. Did you know him?
Yes, I do. Sure do.
Yeah.
Very good.
He was okay football player.
I'm pleased that you came to speak tonight. Thank you for sharing that with us, and you've got my commitment to help, and I know Ms. Hines is on it too, but let's set that up through, maybe through Ms. Heather. We'll figure out a time to meet with our law enforcement, and let's get all on the same page and get a plan together to make sure that you're not dealing with this going forward, okay?
And I applaud y'all for all the kids that were here. It was wonderful to see that because, you know, like I said, when I grew up here in Smyrna, very few places that people that look like me, we could go.
Right.
Very few, very few. So to see the kids now coming and going and having a good time, it just makes my heart feel.
We got a lot of talent and a lot of good folks here in Smyrna.
Oh, yeah. It's a good place to live, but, you know, I own a house in Woodstock. And move down here.
Sir,
listen.
I just want to encourage you to, although you can handle yourself, don't confront
Saying call the
anybody.
police. Call the police and get them over there.
Call the police, and before you leave today, I'm going to give you a number of someone that you can reach out to. He's one of our community outreach, be able to have access to him for law enforcement, as opposed to you doing it, you know?
I did want to, you know, confront him physically like that, but I just was not going to have him.
It's understandable.
Understand.
It's understandable.
You know, not going to have him threaten me. I'm not a child.
Well, thank you for speaking. I'm glad to see you tonight, and we'll get together, okay? Make sure we get all this handled.
All right.
Yes, sir. All right, now we'll go to board and staff reports, and we'll start with Ms. Hines. Mr. Lindley.
Just congratulations to the Smyrna Fire Department. As the mayor spoke, it was great to see the force together, a new truck, a long-awaited new truck, and lots of folks over there on Saturday. And then as a reminder, we've got the wards 1, 3, and 6 joint town hall meeting coming up. So great way to get plugged in.
When is that, Mr. Lindley?
It is October 8th.
October 8th, okay.
Sunday, October 8th at 5 p.m.
Great. Mr. Welch.
I have no report this evening, Your
Ms.
Honor.
Wilkinson.
I would like to recognize the festival that the city had this weekend, the Hispanic Heritage Festival. It was a nice event, and I want to also thank the staff for all the hard work that went into it. And I hope some of our citizens were able to get out there and enjoy it. Thank you.
Mr. Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple things. Got a community meeting this Wednesday at Bronner Hall. Talk about an upcoming water main replacement project in Forest Hills, and to answer some questions from residents about meter reading and billing. So that's 5 p.m. at Bronner Hall. And then also, as Mr. Lindley mentioned, we have our joint ward meeting on Sunday, October 6th, and look forward to having folks come on out to ask questions and answers and all that. And then lastly, been getting a few questions from residents about the Smyrna Hospital closure. And I know we all were, disappointed to hear that Emory Healthcare was not going to be able to reopen that facility. But just a clarification on a few things. They, to reopen it, they needed to get approval from the Department of Community Health, called a certificate of need. And the city was very supportive of that designation being given back to Emory to open the Smyrna Hospital. We wrote a letter of support. Our Smyrna Housing Authority was supportive, and all past governments for the city of Smyrna were very supportive. We wanted that hospital back open. But unfortunately, as that issue worked its way through the system, the Department of Community Health, the Georgia Supreme Court, and et cetera, they were opposed. Emory was opposed by just one entity, a large healthcare system here in Cobb County. So they did eventually receive it, but it was a long, challenging road, and so their decision not not to reopen that facility is a business decision, and we were hopeful and supportive of them coming back into business here locally. But positive news is we hear some work is being done on the redevelopment of that land, and we'd expect something very positive for our community moving forward. So
That's an instance where the marketing team for the property, who has not done anything yet, is coming to us first to
Nice.
talk about it, and that doesn't always happen, so.
right.
We turn a not-so-good situation into something that the community can be proud of.
Right, yeah, and I mean, it's a great spot for, something positive will happen in that location. That's it.
Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Oglesby.
Yeah, hey, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to reiterate, earlier we talked about Smyrna Elite Track Club. The coaches did not mention, you can search us on all your social media platforms to see what we're doing, what we're continuing to do. They actually started a cross-country team, and they are practicing now. So in track and field and cross-country, there's something for every child and adult. We are a national team, so adults, if you want to get active, talk to us. We have something for you too. So that's track and field and now cross-country. I yield back.
I feel like I know where all the winners of all the age groups in the Jonquil Jog are going to come from.
Yeah.
Ms. Robinson, do you have anything? Jeffrey?
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Heather? All right. If there's no other business to be brought before this body, we are adjourned at 8:46. Thank you all very much.